Hi, my name is Nora Sanders. I'm a Target teacher in Cobb County, Georgia. For my professional development this year, I am reading and reviewing some professional books and sharing the information I got with a wider audience. So this is my, I think, third or fourth book that I've reviewed this year. And this time I did Play Like a Pirate, and it is by Quinn Rollins. I thought this was an awesome book. I've been reading a lot of the Dave Burgess Consulting Company books lately, and I really have loved all of them. They're very practical, but also very readable. So in this book, it's kind of broken down into three sections. The first one is toys, the second one is games, and then the third one is superheroes, graphic novels, and comic strips. So throughout the book, he talks about how you can use toys and comic books to kind of incorporate into your teaching. One of my favorite things in the book is kind of the overarching idea of just bringing your passion into teaching. And Quinn Rollins talks about how much he loves toys, has always loved toys since he was a kid. But he says, no matter what it is that you're into, just incorporate that into your classroom and just share that, with your students as part of your classroom culture. So I really, I loved that there was kind of a great, underlying theme to it. Like the other Dave Burgess publishing books, it kind of, it does give really practical ideas, but it also talks a little bit about the psychology of the teacher mind. And another part in the intro of this that I loved is he talks about how some people think being seen as the fun teacher has some kind of risk. And as I read that section, it kind of struck a chord with me because I do feel that way. And sometimes when I'm doing something really fun in my classroom, I think, oh, what if somebody walks in right now? What are they going to think? How is this going to translate at home if the kid said we had a snowball fight, but they don't necessarily convey the academic side of it. And so I like that part about talking about the risk and how you should take that risk and be the fun teacher, because that's what that's what life is all about. So he goes through some guiding principles. Make sure the fun applies to your content. Don't kill the fun. Make your activities versatile. Try out everything first. And then use toys that you are familiar with and that you grew up with. So the first section, he talks about action figures and how you can use action figures in your classroom. So he talks about designing like an action figure box. So like if you're studying a famous person, like let's say you're doing like Martin Luther King Jr., you could have the kids either find an action figure that looks like Martin Luther King Jr. or have the kids create their own Martin Luther King Jr. action figure, and then they would create the box for it also, and that would kind of be where more of the content is. So they would write about kind of what he was known for. There would be like a theme to the box, depending on the time period that the character or the person was in, and then accessories, like what would they have with them? Like maybe Martin Luther King Jr. would have a protest sign. And then on the back you do like a biography, and then you can kind of extend it by doing a play set, or like who would maybe go along with that action figure, like collect all 5, and so maybe you could put some other like civil rights heroes as a part of that. The next section was Transformers, and how you can incorporate Transformers into your classroom. He talks about Hot Wheels, designing your own Hot Wheels car. I'm kind of going through fast because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I could talk about it all day. Oh, this was my favorite. Okay, so Barbie was my favorite when I was a kid. So when he was talking about Barbie, I was like beyond thrilled. So I actually did this activity in my classroom. We were studying Amelia Earhart, and we did an Amelia Earhart Barbie, which to my disappointment has already been designed, but I didn't tell the kids that and show them that. I mean, it's great that it was designed, but I didn't want there to already to be out there. I wanted us to create the original, but there already was one. So so I gave them some Barbies, and they made clothes for the Barbie that would go with Amelia Earhart and accessories, and they did a background, and then on the box, they wrote the accessories that would come there. They wrote some information about Amelia Earhart and her life on the back. I did this with first grade, but obviously if you just upped your expectations, changed the rubric, you could do it with up to high school or any age. And so he also talks about the importance of using Barbie, because Barbie is more female characters. So if you have any kind of female character, female person you're studying, that would be awesome. He talks about using Play-Doh prompts, and he just gives a ton of prompts that you could use with Play-Doh, like your favorite school subject, classroom rules you should have, bullying, your school mascot, state symbols. I mean, there's just a ton. And that's one of the things I love about this book and all of Dave Burgess's book is there's just so much quick, easy stuff that you could use in your classroom tomorrow. I also like the section of the Smurfs because he talked about how the Smurfs would be like more of a community. So like biomes or communities, animal and plant families, roles in historical communities like, you know, Jamestown or something like that. So I thought that was a really cute way to incorporate Smurfs. Legos was another one, which I have recently gotten into because my son is really into Legos. So I didn't play with them as a kid, but now that my son's playing with them and I'm helping him with them, I get it now. They're pretty awesome. So he talks about some ways you can incorporate Legos in the classroom. Gives a ton of the background information about Legos. And then just tons, again, of just really quick, easy ideas. Biodiversity, build your own animal or plant. Molecule building, use different colors to represent the different elements. Geography, you could build landforms. You could do a map of your community. You could build a scene to represent key similarities and differences in the history of world religions. I mean, you really could take it so far. And there's just pages and pages of these quick, easy ideas. He also, I want to talk about this, he also has QR codes in a ton of pages in the book, and it gives you like links to websites, like this is the link to Lego Education and the first Lego League, and then what's really helpful is some of the QR codes go to links of student work examples, which I don't always like to show the students those because I like them to come up with their own ideas, and I think especially when they're younger they'll tend to copy what I show them, but for me to think about designing a lesson around it, I love to see the student work examples. He does talk about gamification, which I'm not going to get too into that section because my last book that I reviewed was on gamification. But he does talk about Minecraft, which I've gotten a little bit into with Minecraft EDU. Similar to Minecraft EDU, Lego has a Lego EDU set. So a lot of these toys and games are kind of, they realize that teachers like them and teachers are using them, and they're making it even easier for us. He talks about trading cards, how you can use trading cards in the classroom. I actually did this with my students. It wasn't my idea, it was part of the unit that we were doing, but we're studying robots and programming, and so all of the students created a robot trading card of a famous robot. And so they put the robot specs and the creator and what it's used for and everything on the back of the card, and then a picture of the robot on the front. And we did that with third grade. It was a lot of fun, and then posted them in the classroom, and they look great. Okay, let's see. And then he talks, section 3 was probably the one I'm least familiar with. He talks about superheroes, graphic novels, and comic strips. I'm not super comfortable with that because I wasn't really a big comic strip person, but again, he makes it really, really easy to implement in your classroom. He gives some background about comic books and graphic novels, and then if you don't know a lot of resources for those, he gives you resources in the back. He has some elementary recommendations right here. This is on page 135. So there were just a ton of graphic novel and comic book recommendations, which is really helpful to me because I don't know anything about that. So a great starting point. And then he also has secondary recommendations too. And similar to the other Dave Burgess publishing books, what's great about this is it can be used in any content, any grade level, like kindergarten through 12th grade, maybe even college. So just a really, really useful book. If you are considering it, I would encourage you to buy it because there's just tons of activities, tons of great stuff you can use in it. I think this might be my favorite Dave Burgess book so far, actually. I think the next one I read, I like Making Teaching Magical. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. I'm definitely going to read it. I don't know if it's going to be my next book review, but I really am interested in that one that just came out. So again, great book. Buy it on Amazon. Thanks for watching.